This week on Life on Air, former Miss USA Shandi FInnessey makes a huge announcement about an upcoming network show you'll see her on.
It will come out on NBC on March 31st. It's a 2-hour show every Sunday.
And being a full-time working host in Hollywood, Shandi shares some sound advice for you up-and-coming hosts.
I almost think it's better, as you and I have talked before, like starting your own show, just getting a YouTube channel, start putting out regular shows, getting people familiar with who you are, getting comfortable in front of like a quote-unquote audience, and going from there.
The super talented Shandi FInnessey, next on Life on Air. Hey everybody, welcome to Life on Air. Tim Tialdo here with you, and thanks for tuning in to the podcast for the TV hosting industry, where I connect you with the experts and help you to get all the info you need to become the best TV host you can be. Hey, if you haven't ordered your copy of my new book, Host Your Own TV Show, just go to hostyourowntvshow.com. You'll find everything you're looking for, plus some great bonuses. And I also want to encourage those of you listening to join the TV hosts group on LinkedIn. We've had quite a few hosts join in the past few weeks, and I'm putting out new information on there every day about the industry. So it's a great resource to keep you up to date, and obviously you can network with a lot of hosts across the industry. Once again, that's the TV hosts group on LinkedIn. And by the way, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. I have some really exciting guests coming up over the next few months, including the woman I have on today. And I know you'll want to hear from all of them, so you can subscribe at the iTunes store. Really excited to welcome a good friend to the show today. We've known each other for about 15 years, and she has really made a name for herself. She was Miss USA 2004, runner-up at the Miss Universe that year. She's hosted several different game shows, including Lingo with Chuck Woolery, Playmania on GSN, and the Ultimate Blackjack Tour on CBS. She was a contestant on Dancing with the Stars, and you'll also frequently catch her doing some red carpet gigs for award shows. And she's even written several books for kids. One is called Fur Tales, the other is called Susanna the Banana. She's beautiful, she's hilarious, and she never ceases to amaze me. Shandi FInnessey, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, I like my intro. Thank you.
Well, it's good to hear from you. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. Living out in Los Angeles and loving Hollywood and all the Tinseltownness that it brings.
Now, it's award show season, and I know you've been busy doing quite a bit different things. What do you have going on right now?
Well, actually, the newest thing that I have, it will come out on NBC on March 31st. It's a 2-hour show every Sunday. I participate in a reality dating show. It's called Ready for Love, and it's basically, whereas The Bachelor, I think, just gets hot girls, hot guys, and throws it against the wall and sees what's this is a real, find true love, and it's working with matchmakers. There were 3 bachelors and then a plethora of girls, and so I'm just kind of thrown into the mix with all sorts of different crazy people, actually. And then, and we have 3 matchmakers that professional matchmakers that just help to get us out of the way that we've been dating and the routines that we do, maybe, or the things that get us hung up and don't let us be our best selves. And then we pursue these guys. And in the end, each guy chooses one girl, and it's supposed to be a whole happily ever after. So everyone can tune in on March 31st and see how I do in it, which is kind of embarrassing, actually, because, I've been in TV for so long, and I've done so many different hosting things, and I've never really just opened up my real life and opened up the reality side, and so that's kind of scary.
Oh my! Look, so it sounds like you're kind of the Chris Harrison of this show. Is that about right?
I am one of the contestants looking for love.
Oh, well, that shouldn't be hard for you, Shandi. Come on now.
Thank you, but it is. I think dating in Los Angeles is just weird on its own. And I think, unfortunately, by having a crown and having been Miss USA, it makes it really hard to find, the good guy that I'm looking for. So, yeah, it's almost a detriment. Being Miss USA was amazing, but then having that title, I think, really scares a lot of people off, and I don't know. It makes the dating pool full of minnows instead of big widow people.
You always have such a great way of putting it, Shandi. And I would ask you what you're looking for in this guy, but it sounds like we're going to have to watch it unfold on NBC.
Yeah, truthfully, I'm looking what every girl's looking for, pretty much just their counterpart. Someone who is, who's like them. I'm not looking for anything above and beyond and magical. I'm not looking for a unicorn. I'm just looking for, someone who's like me, but a man. Yeah, but there's 3 guys, and then there's 12 girls per guy. And each week he narrows it down, one closer, one closer, one closer. And so it's a pretty interesting show to watch, because instead of just being like, okay, well, there's these hot people dating, you actually get to listen to the matchmaker's advice, and they give really good, they're professional matchmakers for reasons. So it's going to be very interesting, I think, for America to tune in and watch.
Well, without giving away any results, I mean, did you connect with anybody? Did you feel anything?
Yeah, I mean, I actually connected with, obviously, you know, the guy that we were all there for, but also even just some of the girls. One girl in particular I'm still, like, really good friends with. And so it's just interesting being on that path together. And it's hard because any women against each other in competition, it can usually get kind of cutthroat. But we were all on a journey together, a self-discovery journey of how to be our best selves in order to get the type of guy that we're looking for. So it was kind of, an interesting experience. So you'll have to tune in and watch.
Well, we're certainly excited to do that, and this is your kind of official announcement. It's the first time it's been talked about, so thanks for talking about it with us. Now, you're doing something that a lot of people, especially wanting to get into hosting, they think about doing, and that is, what if I take part in a reality show as a way to maybe get my name out there and my face out there? You've been out there quite a while. You've had a chance to take part in both an actual show that you hosted, and now the reality side. Do you recommend one or the other for people who are aspiring to do this?
Yeah, so a lot of people think by going on a reality show that will open up doorways for them, and I really caution against that, because a lot of times you will then be labeled as a certain character. I know a lot of people will go on Survivor or Big Brother hoping that at least they get some sort of recognition, and for a very small few, like Elizabeth Hasselbeck, a very small few, they then can go into hosting after, have other opportunities. But it's so small, so I really recommend going for something else first as opposed to a reality show. Unless, I do a reality show if you're just called to that reality show. But don't do it with expectations or hopes of using that to then get an agent, to then get a hosting position. Because a lot of agents also will then characterize you and just put you in that little box of you are on a reality show, and that's kind of where you will just exist. I almost think it's better, as you and I have talked before, like starting your own show, just getting a YouTube channel, start putting out regular shows, getting people familiar with who you are, getting comfortable in front of like a quote-unquote audience, and going from there. As you see, so many YouTube stars are, get tens of millions of views, and they become like the new breakout stars. And that's kind of where TV is going now anyway, is online. I think that's just a better way to get fans, to get followers, and then to grow your image from there.
Well, you had the experience to be part of a reality television show, so to speak, in Dancing with the Stars. Obviously, your moniker as Miss USA helped you to be on there. But after you were part of that show, what happened? I mean, did it seem like more people contacted you, or did you feel like that show might have actually hindered you a little bit?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, technically my first reality show I guess I was on was Miss USA. And being Miss USA really helps me out here in the entertainment world, because it allowed doors to be open. People wanted to take meetings with me because I was Miss USA. However, they had this preconceived notion and a stereotype of what I would be like, a quote-unquote beauty queen. And so I had to work really hard to break down those walls and to show that, I'm not up on this perfect pedestal where everything is sunshine and roses. And that was a real human being. And so it was a little bit of a battle and a fight for me to try to prove who I really was, and I wasn't the image that people think of when they think of beauty queen. But that allowed me then to get an agent, to then pursue other things. Being on Dancing with the Stars, was my second reality show opportunity, and I wanted to be on that show so incredibly bad for so many reasons. However, I think it did somewhat hurt my career, because being on Dancing with the Stars, people then who are looking to hire a host think that you're unattainable. They think like, oh, well, if she was on that show, then we cannot afford her. And it's like, oh, no, but she can. Like, don't you understand? I'm this humble girl from Missouri. And so, and also I think what's really important is finding an agency that really fits with you. Because at the time, which I loved them to pieces, I was with William Morris and before they merged with Endeavor, and it was just so huge. And then they merged with Endeavor at the same time, and then it became even bigger. And I don't think that, here I was like a smaller guppy swimming around in this ocean with these huge fish everywhere, and I felt a little bit unnoticed. And so I had to kind of take a step back and go to still a very well-known, reputable agency with IMG, but just a little bit more one-on-one. They get to know me a little bit better. I get to know them and their expectations. So it's interesting that sometimes you think something will help and it doesn't necessarily. However, I was told that should be the only reality show I ever do, is Dancing with the Stars, because it has such a reputation about it. And I do agree with that, but for some reason, this dating show that I went into, something pulled me into it. And even my agent was like, well, you're not the featured one, though. You're one of many girls. Like, that's a bad decision to do. But sometimes you just got to go with your gut. And something inside me was just saying, like, you really should do, like, maybe you can find love. Maybe you will change somebody's life by something that you say. Maybe you'll plant a seed in someone's thought that, you just never know the repercussions and the effects that you may have on someone. So, I think you really just also have to trust your gut.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the kind of the state of the industry. And you're somebody who, especially from the pageant world, you're legendary. I mean, your Miss USA was one of the highest rated ever. It was just one of the best ever in terms of just the entertainment quality of it. I've known you ever since you grew up in St. Louis, and you were one of those people that you packed your car and you went out there and you went for it. And every time I talk to you, you're doing something new. You're constantly making things happen. But if you could, I want you to explain, especially to the women out there, that it's not that easy, even if you go out and win the Miss USA crown, to just go out and be a TV host.
Oh, absolutely not. There are almost every Miss USA moves out here afterward. And, struggles to find an agent and to try to get auditions and get jobs. One thing that really helps me, well, a few things, but one thing that I found that really helps me is surrounding myself with really motivated, optimistic people who are pushing themselves every single day. And when I go out and I grab dinner with a girlfriend who's like that, and hear all these things that are going on in her life, like I'm starting a new book and I'm starting this new program and I'm developing this show and I'm meeting with these producers, and it reignites my fire of what else can I do in my life? What else can I keep pushing for? And at this point in my life, I don't have a family. I don't have children. I don't have things really holding me back or down. And so it's like, why don't I invest all of this time and do something? And because I don't have a 9-to-5 job, and whenever I'm shooting, I shoot for that day or that week or however long that season may be. But on my downtime, it's downtime. So I can either lay on the couch with a bag of chips and watch TiVo, or I can get my butt in motion and try to plan what the next step is. So that really, really helps me. And then just having a game plan of, rather than, I want to go from A to Z. Okay, that's great, but how are you going to get there? And instead of looking at all these big steps, look at the small steps. What can I do just today that's going to move me that direction? Maybe I need to lose a little bit of weight. Maybe I need to develop my resume more. Maybe I need to develop my own speaking abilities more. What can you do that moves you just a little bit more in that direction?
Now, I want you to tell me what has helped you since you moved out there, because I talk to a lot of female hosts especially who move out to L.A. They are doing work, but the one thing they find when they get there is that everybody's talented and everybody is good looking. And certainly you're a beautiful girl. You won Miss USA. You've been out there. You've been doing things. But I'm sure you've found that it's very competitive and you've got to find a way to really separate yourself.
Yeah, for myself, I moved out here and I said I'm going to be out there for 3 months. And if nothing happens and I don't get a job, then I'll move back home. I now know how ludicrous that is because nobody moves out here and gets a job in 3 months. But I didn't know any different, and I'm not someone, if I have my mind set on a goal, I didn't move out here to make friends. I didn't move out here to meet a boyfriend. I didn't move out here to get caught up in, the night circuit and the clubs and things like that. I moved out here for a purpose. So I fortunately had already had an agent before I moved out, because being Miss USA, they help you to establish representation before you leave the title and move on with your life. And so when I moved out here, we would have meetings set up, and the night before I would get to bed early, I would completely research who I'm meeting, what job they have now at what network, what jobs they came from, what shows they've worked on, who they know. I would know everything about this person's life. So when I walk in, it's not just about me. Let me tell you about myself. I know what type of person they're looking for, what types of shows they do, so what side of myself to present to them. So I really took advantage of those meetings. If I went in on an audition, it was the same thing. I got as much information as I could about the producers who are doing the show, the casting directors, what shows that they work on, what type of show it is, everything I could. And then I would make sure that, because LA traffic is nuts, I keep plenty of time so that literally, if it was a meeting, a casting, I got there almost an hour before, so that I could sit in my car, reread all of my notes, go grab a coffee, kind of get familiar with the surrounding, and just sort of settle in so you don't have that anxiety. The last thing you need when you're taking a meeting or an audition is to have something else on your mind, whether you were rushed, you're breathing funny because you had to hike 2 blocks because you had to park far away, whatever it may be. You want your mind so clear and in the moment. So that I lived for that. I every day it was who am I meeting with this week? What do I need to know about them? And I was very fortunate because I was only out here less than 2 months, I believe, when I landed my first job, which was Lingo on the Game Show Network. And so I was very fortunate in that aspect, but I also put in 110%. I have so many friends that I see who go on meetings, and it's oh, who are you meeting with? Oh, I don't know, somebody at, NBC. Oh, you don't know anything about them. You're going to meet them. This is every single moment is an opportunity. And a person's life can change in an instant. We've heard it over and over when actors and things go on Jay Leno and David Letterman, that it can just take one opportunity, one person getting to know you, one impact that you make, and it could change your life forever. But if you go in, if you keep that in the back of your mind and you take every opportunity of, this moment could change my life because I'm putting the effort in. And I fully believe that success is when preparation meets opportunity, and too many people rely on luck. I'll just be at Starbucks and Steven Spielberg will walk in and say, you're my next star. And you need to have the preparation in order for the opportunity to match with you and then have the success.
Well, you bring up some phenomenal tips there about auditioning that a lot of people don't always get to hear. Let's just take, for instance, the show that you're going to be appearing on for NBC. Obviously, I'm sure you had to go through an audition process for that.
I did, but I think they were kind of confused because it was kind of a long story. So one night I was watching TV and I was just sort of tired. I worked all day for a show that I was doing. And I was on Facebook, and I came across something which led me to something, and eventually I see this, are you looking for love? Because maybe you can find it, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I am looking for love, yes.
This sounds like a Match.com commercial, Shandi.
Totally, and something drew me into it. And so the next day I contacted my agent, and I was like, do you know anything about this show? And so she thought I meant to host it. And so she contacted them for the hosting side. And meanwhile, I was like, no, actually, I'm talking about finding love. And she was like, what? I'm sorry. You already are on TV as a host, and now you want to go and be a contestant? And so nobody supported me. And so I was like, you know what? I feel like I should do this. I'm sending in a darn application. And so I sent in an application, and I think they were confused because they get it. And it's well, I was Miss USA, and I was on Dancing with the Stars, and I think they were confused. So I got a call right away, and they were like, do you want to be a contestant on our you want to, huh? They were so confused, and I was like, yeah, I do. Call me crazy, but something's telling me to do this, and maybe I can find my husband. I don't know. And so it was just kind of a silly thing, but pretty early on they were like, okay, come be on our show. So I was very blessed that it happened that easily for me. But you'll have to just watch to see. Well,
congratulations on it. And again, before we go, tell us a little bit about the show and when it's going to air.
Yeah, so the premiere is on March 31st on NBC. It's 2-hour episodes. It's called Ready for Love. And basically it's just a real-life dating show where there's 3 guys they found across America and 12 girls per guy. And the whole quest of trying to just really figure out what you're looking for in a mate and how to be the best you that you can be. And you work with 3 amazing matchmakers to help you become that person. And in the end, the hope is that each guy will choose a girl, and then you have a happily ever after.
Well, we're certainly excited for you. Primetime Network reality. That's going to be a lot of fun. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And always great to talk to you, Tim.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm sure I'm going to see you here very soon. I'm going to be back out in L.A. doing some coaching, so I look forward to catching up with you again.
Wonderful. Definitely will.
Folks, that's Shandi FInnessey, and if you want to learn more about her, and by the way, you're probably going to get a flood of Twitter followers after this looking for love as well. Go to shandi.info. That is her website where you can learn all about not only what she's doing, but what she's done in the past. Folks, that is the podcast for today. Join me next week when I welcome the host of Yahoo's Sports Minute, Angela Sun, to the show. You won't believe the amount of things this girl is doing in the biz. Once again, that's next week on Life on Air. And as I always say, the only way to predict your future is to go out and create it. Now go do it. We'll see you next week.